All right, my young friends, it's been a long time since I've been with you. I hope you've enjoyed your Coleman-free July. However, I'm feeling compelled to get back on track with you. This is your second of the 3 bird quizzes that I'm sending you. Many of you have been ignoring me over the summer and have not responded to the first bird quiz I sent. I will try to get over it, but you probably want to give it a listen. It could not possibly be more easy. I give away the answers on some of the songs in the flippin' quiz, so just, it's not meant to be tricky. It's meant to help you just kind of hear things so that when we get together in September, we can hit the ground running and go for some hikes and things like that. Okay. So this is, as I said, the second round of 6. Hold on, gotta get there we go. All right, so without further ado, okay, second group of 6, here we go. All right, the first from this group is the northern mockingbird. You have seen this bird. If you live around here, it is a medium-sized gray bird, and here are your tips, okay? The long tail, that when it's standing, as it is here in the image on the left, and the 2 white wing bars. Otherwise, it's a pretty nondescript light gray bird. In flight, however, if you look here on the picture on the right, you see these 2 white wing patches and the 2 vivid white stripes on the side of the tail. Excellent way. You can tell this bird in an instant. If it is flying past you in your car and you're going 60 miles an hour and you see it for just a second, if you see those the wings flashing white at you, then you know you've seen a mockingbird. It's very easy to tell. They are very noisy. Sometimes they are quite vocal at night, which is unusual for most birds, but sometimes mockingbirds, for a reason I don't understand, will do that. Of course, the thing about mockingbirds is that they mock, they imitate sounds. Now, as you might remember, the purpose of bird song is to attract a mate of your species. And if you don't know the right song, then no one's going to be interested in you. So why on earth would a mockingbird sing the song of a cardinal? Okay, it's not trying to attract a cardinal, it's trying to attract a mockingbird. Well, what they believe that mimics, and mockingbirds aren't the only mimics, there are many others, are doing is not necessarily, they are trying to attract a mate by having the most complex song. And so what you hear are a lot of changes with the mockingbird. You'll hear a sound maybe 4, 5, 3 times in a row, da-da, 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 and then you'll hear a change. And then some other different sound will be repeated 4 or 5 times in a row. I have one that I've heard several times in my backyard. Sounds exactly like a car alarm, and no doubt it heard that somewhere and has adopted that as one of the songs in its repertoire. And if you have been with me, you've seen a video of a song of a bird, I can't even think of the name of it, does elaborate mimicking, and does a car alarm, does a chainsaw sound, does a camera sound. We'll hear it again when we get together in the fall. It's fantastic. At any rate, so that's the northern mockingbird. The next bird, the blue jay. Can be a mimic too, to some degree, but generally speaking, blue jay is a screamer. It makes just a screeching cry most of the time. Sometimes it actually sounds like a red-shouldered hawk, and can sound very convincingly like one, but most of the time they're screamers. They are Appearance-wise, the only thing you could possibly confuse it with is a bluebird, but it is not like a bluebird. It's got the crest, the colors are blue, but also black, grays, and whites, whereas the bluebird has that rusty red. It is very aggressive. Oftentimes at bird feeders will be the bully at the bird feeder and whatnot. Larger bird, mockingbird size, but a little bit larger than that. So that's a blue jay. Should be pretty easy. Barred owl. I think it's the only owl in your list of birds for the summer, at any rate. It is an owl without the ear tufts. If you look at that smooth, rounded head top, unlike the great horned owl, which we will also learn that has these little tufts of feathers that look like ears, or horns. They are not either ears or horns. They're just tufts of feathers. But this bird is called a barred owl because of the vertical barring on its belly. And it is my favorite one of all because it says, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" And I hope you all will listen for that outside, and certainly listen to it on your CD. If you hear it, you don't forget it easily. Next, there's a zillion little brown birds. You learned about the Carolina wren. This is a chipping sparrow. Okay, this little bird is like all the sparrows. It is a streaky little bird, brown with streaks. As you can see, this bird has kind of a grayish to whitish, and usually appears more tannish to me in real life, but the breast is clear, but it's a streaky brown back, and the identifying mark for us is that vivid rusty red cap on its head. That's your cue for the chipping sparrow. The chipping sparrow sounds rather like an insect when it sings. It's almost like a grasshoppery type or cricket type sound. It's not bird-like typically. So listen for that one on your CD. The common grackle is a completely black bird, large bird about the size of a blue jay. They tend to travel in large flocks, especially when they're migrating back and forth, so sometimes you'll see large groups of these at your home. Iridescent, meaning depending on how the bird's feathers are catching the light, it can almost seem to shimmer with purples and greens and things like that. But it is a completely black bird except for one feature. Guess what? Its eye. Got it. Okay? So that's a common grackle, and they are very common around our area. There are other kinds of grackles too, but around here, this is generally the one we see. The last bird is also black, but different. This is a European starling. It is not native, therefore we call it an invasive species. The European in the name probably tips you off. This bird was brought here. The fable, which is true from everything I can gather looking at the internet sources, is that the story is that this bird was brought here by people, I believe, with the New York Shakespeare Festival in New York, probably right around the turn of the last century, 1900-ish. And they thought it would be really cool to, in part of their celebration of Shakespeare's works, to release all the birds ever mentioned in Shakespeare's works as part of a big celebration. And so starlings were among those birds. Most of the other birds they brought died because this was not their native habitat, but the starlings made themselves at home and are with us in large numbers today. It's unfortunate because they do compete with our native birds for nest spaces. These birds are cavity nesters, meaning they nest in holes in trees, along with like bluebirds and things. So these birds, being more aggressive, can outcompete bluebirds for nest sites, and so on. So blackbird, also iridescent like the grackle, but you see the speckling. This is the summer breeding plumage, that speckling that you see there. It's kind of a different sort of speckling comes in during the winter. The yellow bill is also part of the breeding, and the pink feet. So this is a blackbird like the grackle, does not have the long tail. The pink feet are a giveaway. This bird you commonly see on telephone wires in large groups. They like to colonize at the football stadium. You will often see them congregating around the lights and the top of the bleachers and stuff because they do like to live in groups, and they're squawky and noisy. And when you hear them, they sound like chattering monkeys. That's how I think of them. When you listen to the CD, it's just a lot of raucous noise with punctuated by a wolf whistle, like the construction construction workers have seen the girls go by, then they kind of thing. It's not quite like that, but it's a long sailing whistle that punctuates all this wild chattering. So that's your next 6 birds. Listen to the songs on your CD and try to maybe listen to them while I'm talking about them. In this video, go back and listen again while I describe for you what you ought to listen to. And I will have uploaded for you a quiz on the Kia site soon, so that you can take that quiz in addition to the first one. And if you haven't taken the first one yet, do it. And so I hope you're having a great summer, and I will be in touch with you soon. Take care.